So this project has been a large financial undertaking, actually huge. So we're trying to get into the house. We have to push for a CO and we need a house that's usable. But we're not ready to just come in and spend oodles of money on countertops. So what I'm going to show you here in the next couple videos is how to make wood countertops. You can make these on your own. We're just going to use 2x10's and we're using 2x10's just because we have about an 8-foot section here, an 8-foot section over there. And we're going to basically pull these boards together so that they're perfectly smooth and it feels like a nice countertop on top. So be sure to watch both these videos because I'm going to show you a video on how I built the wood for this, and then I'm going to show you another video basically on how we have come back and cut this to fit in the correct spot here. So we're going to do two videos because getting your measurements and your cuts takes a lot of time and it's pretty specific. But in this first video, part one, I'm going to show you basically how we got the countertop itself before we cut it to fit. So again, we're using just your regular 2x10's from Lowe's. This is treated lumber, so it really doesn't matter if it gets wet or damaged. We are going to finish it. But for starters, this is what we kind of start off with. The first thing you're going to want to do is rip these down because you need to have a flat edge in order to properly put these boards together. And the only way you're going to get that is by ripping down at least 1/4 of an inch on either end. So remember the big thing about ripping wood down is setting up your table saw, and if you don't have a table saw, ripping it down with your skill saw. We measure in, if we're taking off 1/4 of an inch, we measure in 2 inches so that we have that 1.5 inch width for the blade to run along. And I'll show you again in a quick video with my son Benjamin how we rip these things down and prep them. Come here, I'm going to show you this, okay? Daddy needs you to take your tape measure and measure out, put it on the very edge and measure out 2 inches so that we can mark this right at 2 inches. So measure from here 2 inches. Let's do that down, put another mark right about here. Can you measure that one for me? Hold it tight. And then bring it right here, we'll do it again. Okay. Then we're just going to come all the way down to the end here. We're going to do one more.
You're doing pretty good. I keep telling all about it.
Well, in order to build the countertops, we need to have smooth surfaces between the wood that we combine together. So Daddy is cutting off the external edges of these 2x10's so that we have flat surfaces to work with. We're going to measure another line, 2 inches down here, and then we're going to clamp this board on top so it's right at the 2 inch mark. So once you have your boards ripped down, the next step is putting them together. You don't want to just set them next to each other and glue them together. So what I did was I set the boards, all stack them up on top of each other, and then I kind of went down and I measured out lines even with each other, and then basically just took a drill and drilled in holes for 1/2 inch wood dowels. Because we want those wood dowels going into the wood to kind of create a support between boards as we push them together to help the glue kind of saturate deeper into the wood, just hold everything together better. So you'll go ahead and measure out your lines, put your 1/2 inch holes for your wood dowels, and then it's a matter of fitting them together. if you had fancy machines, you wouldn't have to do all this, but if you're just like me and you're working at home and you're trying to put it together, it's possible. You just kind of have to work it in there. Don't worry if things are a little uneven on top. That's part of the finishing process. You just, right now, you want to get those boards as tight as possible, and once you kind of wedge it all in together before you actually knock it all the way in, you're going to want to come in and put your wood glue all the way down the seam, just goop it in there. You could wipe off the excess. Excess will drip underneath, but get as much wood glue as you possibly can in between those seams, because that's going to hold this whole thing together and bond it. Once you have all your boards glued together, and kind of as you're doing it, you're going to come back and tighten down your pipe clamps along the wood, and just pull the boards as tight together as you possibly can. Use as many clamps as you can. I only had 2 clamps for this project, but it worked. And that is going to get your seams extremely tight, and it's going to basically put all your 2x10's together so that you have a deeper counter surface, and that's pretty much all you need to do at this point in time. The next step to this process is going to be sanding it down, and what I used was a 40 grit paper on a belt sander, and I just went all over this thing. Generally you want to sand with the grain, but when you're really trying to take it down to get rid of the lips in between these boards, you're really going to have to hit it hard with the belt sander. Take it from a 40 to a 60 to an 80, all the way up to a 120. This is just your rough sanding, but you're going to want to get it as smooth as you possibly can and get out as many of the marks from the belt sander as you can. So, I could run my hand across here, I can't feel those seams. That's about as perfect as you can get it. These boards are, because of how they were sanded, I don't think this countertop is level on it, probably not perfectly level all the way across, but it's pretty darn close. But that is basically how we built the structure, or the main panel that we're using for our countertops. Your next step is going to be measuring and cutting the countertops. You want to make sure you get that part right. We made a second video for that. Make sure you tune into that video, and as we progress, we'll post additional videos on how to finish these, how to give it a nicer edge, and all of that fun jazz. But for now, after you watch this video, tune into our next video on basically cutting it and fitting it into place, and have fun with it.